Hi guys, it's Lindsay. Welcome back to the Wandering Reader. Today I'm going to be doing my January TBR. I'm so excited to get started with a couple of the projects that I talked about, the Booktuber Recommends project and the Reading My Shelves project 2018. If you haven't had a chance to watch both of those videos, I'll link those for you. So I'm going to start off by talking about a few books that I've picked out that are separate to those two projects. So the first of those is The Child Finder, and this is by Renee Denfield. I'm going to be joining in with Lisa's Body Reads group from Books and Smiles this month. It's one of my goals in 2018 to join in with more of my fellow booktubers Goodreads groups, and that particular group is reading The Child Finder in January, and this is also a ARC that I won in a giveaway, so it ticks that particular box as well. So this is, I believe, about a woman who finds missing children. Yeah, she finds missing children and she's called upon by one of this particular family whose daughter has been missing for 3 years, but they're convinced that she isn't dead, and Naomi, I think it is, she's the main character. She also believes that she's not dead as well, but when she starts delving into the case a little bit more, it kind of throws up some things about her own past. So Russell from Ink and Paper blog read this in 2017 and said it was absolutely fantastic, so I'm really looking forward to delving into this and to chatting about it with people over on that Goodreads group. I'm also going to be buddy reading The Trouble with Goats and Sheep by Joanna Cannon with Robin over at Driftless Reader. We had a little chat about a book that we'd like to buddy read, and this particular one came up and we talked about reading it in January. So this is kind of a mystery, I think, that's set in 1970s. Yeah, 1970s Britain. So I believe a woman dies and there are some children in this village who try and investigate what's gone on with it. So I've heard nothing but good things about this book, so I'm looking forward to diving into this. I'm also buddy reading Do Not Disturb by A.R. Torrey with Lisa from Books and Smiles. We decided that we were going to read books 2 and 3, and we'll start off with book 2 in January from the Deanna Madden series. I read book 1, which is called The Girl in 6E, a couple of years ago now, so it's high time that I picked up book number 2. And these are kind of erotic thrillers, and that sounds kind of weird if you've not come across this series before, but that it's not really about the erotic part of it. It's about a woman who webcams for a living, and she discovers something that's a bit untoward to do with one of her customers, shall we say, and then the story goes on from there. And then this book 2 just picks up obviously after the end of book 1, so I'm really looking forward to seeing where the story goes next. I thought I'd start off the year with a classic and a non-fiction to kind of get those two goals going again in 2018. The classic that I have picked is My Cousin Rachel by Daphne du Maurier. This is a modern classic, and it's the other Daphne du Maurier book that I've got on my shelf apart from Rebecca. And this is, I believe, about a woman whose husband dies and she comes to stay with her husband's cousin, and I believe the woman's a little bit strange, and then I don't really know anything about it after that. This was made into a film with Rachel Weisz in 2017, so when I've read this, perhaps I'll pick up the movie too. And then the non-fiction book that I want to start in January is Dennis and Greer, A Love Story by Molly Gold. I was sent this by the author about 6 months ago now. I think I was approached in August to read it and I still haven't picked it up. And this is an advanced reader copy as well, so it ticks off another one of my goals. And this is, I believe, about some letters that were found that were written between two people during the war, I think, against the backdrop of war, so I'm guessing it's World War II. Yeah, oh no, hold on, from war-torn Vietnam era, so that's very different from World War II. Yeah, so I'm quite looking forward to picking that up and then eventually reviewing it for you guys. Then I've got here my Booktuber Recommends jar, so I'm going to have a little we'll kind of mess them up a little bit, and then I will pick this one. Let's just put that down. Let's see what I have picked. Oh, well, that's cool. Right, so I have picked Lisa from Books and Smiles, Yellow Crocus by Layla Ibrahim. So I don't actually own this book, so I'm going to go and order it from the library in a second. I'm really looking forward to reading this book. This is, I believe, about the relationship between a white girl and her wet nurse, and then kind of the story kind of goes on from there. So yeah, Lisa had really good things to say about this in 2017, so I'm looking forward to picking it up in January. And then lastly, I've got here my Reading My Shelves project. So I'm going to pick one out of here, and then I'm going to pick a TBR based on that. So I'm going to do a little bit of shuffling and then dig deep. This one. So what have we got? Oh wow, I've got new to me authors. So I'm going to go and pick a few books and show you what I've picked out. Okay, so I'm back and I've picked out 5 books. I think with the 3 that I'm sort of buddy reading, that'll be enough for January alongside the classic and the non-fiction book that I've got. So the first one that I've got here is Assassin's Apprentice by Robin Hobb. When I told my husband I picked out the new to me authors thing, he said straight away that I need to read Hobb. So I put this on my holiday TBR in 2017 and never got around to reading it. And actually it's quite short for a fantasy book, so it would be quite interesting to get around to reading the beginning of a series that he absolutely loves. So yeah, looking forward to that one. Next I've got here The Tidal Zone by Sarah Moss. I've never read anything clearly by Sarah Moss before, and this is one that she has recently published. And I bought this a couple of years ago now and still haven't got around to reading it. And this is, I believe, about a girl who has some sort of accident, or she becomes ill and she can't go to school anymore, and then her father, I believe, has to look after her, and it's about the family dynamic of her being ill and her parents looking after her and kind of what happens to the family as a consequence of that. I think it's going to be very character driven rather than plot driven, but yeah, but I'm interested to see what Sarah Moss's writing is like. Next up I've got Vicious by V.E. Schwab. This is a book about 2 guys who do some experimenting, I think, in university, and then later on down the line they're kind of not friends anymore, and something has happened with their experiment. I don't really know too much more than that, but again, I've never read anything by Victoria Schwab before, and I believe that she's writing a second book to this. This is actually going to be a duology or part of a series. My husband read this and he really liked it, and I bought this for my birthday in 2017, so it's high time that I get around to reading it. Next up I've got Rachel Joyce's The Unlikely Pilgrimage of Harold Fry. I've got a couple of Rachel Joyce's books on my shelf and I haven't read either of them, obviously. This one you hear quite a lot about on BookTube, and I don't really know what it's about. So all it says on the back is, when Harold Fry leaves home one morning to post a letter with his wife hoovering upstairs, he has no idea that he's about to walk from one end of the country to the other. He has no hiking boots or map, let alone a compass, waterproof or mobile phone. All he knows is that he must keep walking to save someone else's life. I think this is going to be quite charming and endearing, and it's not actually that long, so we'll see about that one. And then the last book that I have here, sort of a crime book, it's Tess Gerritsen's Harvest, and this is the first book in one of her series, and I think Simon from Savage Reads really likes Tess Gerritsen's writing, and never read anything by her before, and I bought this about 1.5 years ago now and still haven't picked it up. So yeah, I believe Tess Gerritsen was a doctor or a surgeon or something like that before she became a writer, and she sort of writes medical crime novels, so I'm really intrigued to see whether I like her writing. So there you go guys, that is my January TBR. There are 10 books on there, although the classic and the non-fiction book I'm not necessarily planning on finishing in January. So 8 books really to get through, which I think is totally doable. I tend to read between 6 and 8, but I think 8 is probably more my average number per month. So I'm really looking forward to diving into some of these. Please let me know in the comments below, have you read any of these? What did you think of them? Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.